Welcome to Wizard's video on designing and cutting a single opening. This is the first thing you'll do with your Wizard, and it's the thing you'll do most frequently as the years go by with your Wizard. Here we are on the main screen of Mat Designer. Click New Mat Design at the right. The new opening screen will open. Notice that the opening size is flashing ready for you to type in your numbers. So I'll type in 7.5, 7.5. Hit the Tab key to go to the next field. I want everybody to know you are able to type in fractions. So I'll type in 11 space 3 stroke 4. Then hit the Tab key and we'll type in the borders. I'll type in 3, hit the Tab key. Notice that all three of the fields fill in. I'll tab down to the bottom and make the bottom just a little bit wider, just to do a weighted bottom on this map. Hit the Tab key one more time. You see that the arithmetic completes and it draws us a picture of the mat design so far. You are able to make it a 2, 3, 4, up to 6 layers, but we'll make this a 3-layer mat, and we'll change the reveal on the outer reveal to a little bit less than ½ an inch, and we'll make the inner reveal a little bit smaller. There is the mat, and now we'll cut it. Click the Cut button down here at the lower right, and we go directly to the cutting preview screen. In order to cut the mat, all we have to do is click the large button that says Cut at the upper right. Before you do, however, there are a few things we need to understand and make choices about. First of all, your choice is, do you want the Wizard to cut the outside of the mat or not? If you check Cut the outside, let the Wizard cut the outside of the mat. It's handy to know that down at the lower left, the status bar will tell you that you need to put at least a 15.25 by 19.75 inch piece of mat board into the machine in order to accomplish this. If you uncheck Cut the outside and you want the Wizard to only cut the opening, the status bar then tells you you need to put a 13.5 by 18 inch piece of mat board into the machine as the mat blank. Let's choose Cut the outside. The next thing we need to know about is layers. At the middle, at the top, it says place the bottom mat in the machine. This pictogram over on the left tells us that the bottom layer is set to cut. Also, in the illustration in the middle, it displays the current layer in red. Just so you know, you are able to change the layer by clicking on any of these representations of the layers on the left. The last thing we need to know is about putting the mat board itself in the machine. There needs to be a slip sheet, an extra sheet of mat board under the mat you're cutting to protect the machine. At the upper right, it says Back in red. That means the layer set to cut will be cut from the back. So put the mat board in the machine face down. The mat board needs to be placed in the machine so that the bottom and the left edges are underneath the clamps. Then click Cut. The head alignment screen pops up if this is the first mat you've done today, and it reminds you that you need to rotate the foot block into the 12 o'clock position. You need to move the gantry all the way over till it stops at the left, and you need to slide the head down so that the foot block rests against the bottom rail. Once this is done, click in the middle, and the blade depth reminder pops up if this is the first mat you've done today. It reminds you that you'll need to put the black cartridge into the machine and that you'll need to set the blade depth dial to 10. Once that's done, click OK and cutting proceeds. Notice over here on the left there is a message that says press the space bar to pause. So I'm going to press the space bar, we'll pause the cutting, and there are a couple options here. You can tape in openings or make whatever adjustments need to be done and click Continue to continue the cutting from that point. You can also click Blade and it will move the gantry to a convenient spot. It will move the foot block to a convenient spot so that you are able to change the blade. Once you've finished changing the blade, click Control-S on the keyboard, and then click Continue, and the cut will continue from that spot. The other part of the message says press any key to abort the cut. If you abort the cut, cutting stops, and you cannot resume the cutting after you've aborted a cut. There are a few things over here under Tools on the right that I need to bring to your attention. The next to the bottom one is the one called Configurations. If you click it, it opens the configuration screen. This is where all of the adjustments you need to make in order to improve the cutting reside. If you need to make any adjustments to the cutting configurations, please call Wizard Customer Support for guidance regarding the specific changes to make. They will help you, and they will keep track of what's been changed on your machine so that the next time it will be a little bit easier. So click OK once those changes are made. It will register the changes, and your cutting can continue. The last thing that I need to bring to your attention on the cutting screen is the blade depth. Anytime you cut a mat board that is thicker than standard 4-ply mat board, such as, say, 8-ply, you'll need to set the blade depth dial on the machine a little deeper so that it will cut all the way through the material. The best way to find this blade depth setting for a new mat board is to make a series of test cuts and increase the setting of the blade depth dial on the machine with each successive cut until the blade cuts all the way through the mat board. Let's say that we estimate that this mat board is going to cut through at a setting of 20. Let's begin testing at 18. So we make a test cut at 18 and it doesn't cut all the way through. Then we make one at 19 and it kind of cuts all the way through. And then at 20, it cuts all the way through very nicely. Click the blade depth button right here and it opens up the blade depth dialog box. Type 20 into the field under Opening, and then in the label, what you'll want to do is type in what kind of mat board you are using. And then when you click OK, you have just told the software that you have set the blade depth dial on the machine a little bit different. This is important because once the software knows what the blade depth setting is, it calculates a new starting point and a new ending point so that the corners on the face of the mat look good. Once you have finished with this mat, click the back button at the top right and it takes you back to the new opening screen. All the numbers are there just exactly as you have left them. To begin your next project, click Reset. All the fields go blank and it's ready for you to fill in the numbers for your next project, and off you go.